I used to love the way she smelled when she came home from work. A mix of lavender lotion, printer ink, and whatever overpriced vanilla candle they kept burning in reception. It was oddly comforting, proof, I thought, that she'd been working late again, grinding through deadlines, chasing that promotion she kept saying was just a few quarters away. She was a senior project coordinator at a small architectural firm downtown. Lots of stress, she'd sigh, dropping her purse by the entryway and kicking off her heels like they'd personally betrayed her. Tom's losing it, Rachel's incompetent, and I swear if the client sends one more email marked urgent, I'd nod, play my part. Dinner was usually ready when she walked in. Nothing fancy, but enough to show I cared. A lot of our marriage felt like that near the end. Gestures. Quiet little offerings left at the altar of routine, hoping they'd be enough. We'd been married 10 years. No kids. Not by choice, not exactly. Life just got away from us. We tried once. Miscarriage. After that, it was easier to say we were too busy. Careers. Timing. Finances. The truth? We got scared. And somewhere in that fear, we drifted. Still, I never thought we were broken. I thought we were coasting. Maybe that was the first lie I told myself. The day it all unraveled started like most others. I was in the garage working on an old cabinet I'd been refinishing. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something in me, a flicker of curiosity, maybe boredom, picked up. Hello. Hi. Is this Mr. Langston? Yes, speaking. This is David Trent. I'm the regional manager at Whitmore Designs. I'm trying to reach your wife, Marla. I was hoping you might have her new contact information. I remember wiping my hands on my jeans, confused. Her new contact information? There was a pause. Then, yes. She resigned from her position with us 3 weeks ago. We tried her work email, but it's been deactivated. I assumed she'd passed her personal number along, but I haven't had any luck. I blinked. The name rang familiar. Whitmore. That was her firm. I'm sorry she what? Resigned. 3 weeks ago. It was quite abrupt, actually. She didn't say much beyond pursuing other opportunities. Look, I don't mean to be intrusive. It's just, some HR documents were never returned, and we're trying to close her file. I didn't speak for a moment. I heard the buzzing of a fly somewhere above me, the creak of the garage door in the wind. I wasn't aware, I finally said. Oh, I apologize. I assumed you'd know. No, it's fine. I'll talk to her. He thanked me, gave me his callback number, and hung up. I stood there for a long time, holding the phone like it might still have something more to say. When she got home that night, she was humming. I watched her from the kitchen as she pulled off her coat and threw her keys in the bowl. Same tired sigh. Same dramatic flop onto the couch. How was the office? I asked, careful. Casual. The usual. She replied, not looking at me. Tom's a mess. I swear, I'm running that place half the time. I leaned against the counter, heart pounding. That's impressive, I said. She laughed, sipping from a glass of water. Someone's got to hold the roof up, right? I nodded. Except, didn't you quit? The silence came fast and thick. Her glass froze halfway to her lips. What? I repeated myself, quieter this time. David Trent called. Said you left the firm. 3 weeks ago. She blinked. Her face changed, not all at once, but in pieces. A twitch in her jaw. A pull at the corner of her mouth. Her hand slowly lowered the glass. She started, but stopped. Her eyes flicked down, then back to mine. It was complicated. Complicated enough to not tell me. My voice cracked, just a bit. She stood then. Straightened her blouse like that would smooth out the lie. I didn't want to worry you. Things were getting toxic there. It was affecting my mental health. I stared at her, trying to piece it all together. So where have you been going every morning? Her mouth opened, then closed. 1,000 words scrambled for position, but none came out. That's when I knew. Not just that she was lying, but that she'd been lying for a while. And worse, that she'd gotten used to it. I remember this strange calm settling over me, like a numb fog. I wasn't even angry yet. I was stunned, like someone had switched the channels in the middle of a familiar movie. She tried to walk past me. I stepped in her way. Where have you been going? I asked again. To figure things out, she whispered. I needed space. I needed to breathe. For 8 hours a day, she didn't answer. In the weeks that followed, I would find more lies. Old receipts, deleted messages, hotel bookings under her maiden name. All the little threads that unraveled what I thought was our life. But that moment, That one phone call was the match. Everything else, that was just watching it burn. She said she needed space. That was her phrase. As if space was something you packed in a tote bag and carried with you into another man's arms. After that night, things didn't explode the way I expected. She didn't scream. I didn't cry. We just existed in the same house like two ghosts too stubborn to admit we were dead. She started sleeping in the guest room. I started locking my phone. I started watching. And God, the things I saw once I stopped trusting her words. She still got dressed every morning like she was headed to work. Blazer, slacks, heels that clacked with purpose. She'd spritz on perfume, fix her hair, even fill a thermos. Then she'd leave. Same time, same smile, same script. The difference now? I followed. The first morning, I told myself it was paranoia. But something deeper said, no, this is instinct. So I waited 5 minutes after she left, then got in my truck and trailed behind. She didn't go downtown. She took the freeway north. 45 minutes out, past the city, past the skyline, into the kind of neighborhoods with corner bakeries and yoga studios that don't take cash. She pulled into a residential complex, row houses with manicured lawns, and walked up to Unit 7B. She had a key. I parked a block away and watched. She didn't come out for 4 hours. When she did, she was wearing a different top. Hair messier, lips wiped bare. The next day, I followed again. Same place, same routine. The third day, I didn't follow. I waited. And that afternoon, I knocked on the door of Unit 7B. A man answered. Mid-30s. Designer stubble. The kind of guy who wore sneakers that cost more than my car's tires, and probably said things like, vibe check, without irony. Hey, I said calm. Too calm. I think you know my wife. He didn't speak. Just blinked. Marla, I added, in case he wanted to play dumb. He stepped out, closing the door halfway behind him. I heard movement inside. A quick shuffle, a woman's voice, then silence. I don't want a scene, he said. Neither do I. I just want the truth. He didn't deny it. Didn't offer excuses. Just sighed, like I'd made things inconvenient for him. Look, man, I didn't know she was still married at first. She said you were separated. Of course she did. How long? I asked. He scratched his neck. Couple months, give or take. Couple months, I echoed. So she quit her job, left me in the dark, and moved in with you? He flinched at that last part. She's not. Look, she rents this place. I just come by sometimes. And there it was. The hole in the story I hadn't seen before. She hadn't moved in. She'd created a new life. A secret one. Rented a room. Kept up the performance. And let me believe we were still trying. I left without raising my voice. That night, I waited for her at the kitchen table. Lights off. Just a lamp on. Like some kind of noir film. Like the husband who's known too much for too long. She came in, startled to see me. Rough day at the office. I asked. She froze. What are you doing? Just wondering if you need more time to breathe. Maybe an extra key for Unit 7B? Her face went pale. I expected her to deny it. To scream. To throw the blame at me. But instead, she sat down. Slowly. Like she was tired. Like something in her had finally snapped. I didn't mean for it to go this far, she whispered. What did you mean for it to be? I asked. An affair? A second life? A backup plan? She covered her face with her hands. I didn't feel like myself anymore. I was suffocating. I wanted something new. Something that didn't remind me of everything I hadn't done. I just stared at her. So you quit your job. You lied to me. And you built an escape hatch. Her hands dropped. Yes. Just like that. No fight. No drama. Just a quiet, broken yes. I don't know what hurt more, that she lied, or that she was so good at it. That she kissed me on the cheek each morning with a lie behind her teeth and no flicker of guilt in her eyes. I stood up. You need to pack a bag. She didn't argue. Didn't ask where she was supposed to go. She knew. As she zipped her suitcase upstairs, I sat in the same chair, staring at the empty wall across from me. It wasn't rage that filled me. It was grief. Grief for the woman I thought I married. For the life I thought we built. For the version of me that believed love was always enough. She walked out with one small suitcase. No words. No apology. I listened as the front door clicked shut. Then I sat there, alone, surrounded by every inch of the life she left behind. And it all felt too quiet. Like the end of a long movie with no credits. Just a blank screen. Just silence. After she left, the house didn't feel empty. It felt haunted. Not with ghosts, not the kind you can see, but with things that no longer made sense. Her coffee mug was still in the dishwasher. A scarf hung behind the door, the one I bought her that Christmas she pretended to like. Her toothbrush sat beside mine for 3 days before I finally threw it out. I didn't cry. Not then. Maybe I was still too stunned. Or maybe I was holding out for something, some message, some regret, something that said I'm sorry for what I did to you. But it never came. What had come were the emails. First from her friend Jenna, polite but prying. Hey, heard you and Marla are having a rough patch. She's staying with me for a bit. Just wanted you to know she's okay. Rough patch. That's what she called it. Like she hadn't faked a job for 3 weeks and used her workdays to play house with another man. Then came the bills. And that's when the next lie surfaced. Her credit card had been maxed out. I hadn't noticed it earlier. She had her own account, but we'd linked it for emergencies. I opened the statements expecting boutiques, maybe spa days. What I found were rental payments for the apartment in 7B, dating back 6 months. Dinners. Weekend trips. A hotel stay 2 towns over booked under her maiden name. Multiple times. She'd been playing a long game. She didn't just stumble into another life. She built it brick by brick while I made her omelets and asked how her meetings went. That night, I opened my laptop. I pulled up our old photos. Italy, Vermont. Her birthday dinner 2 years ago when she cried because I surprised her with tickets to a jazz pianist she loved. I looked at her face in those photos, and I wondered when it happened. When did she start lying? Not just to me, but to herself? The next day, I went to the firm. Her old one. Whitmore Designs. I wasn't there to confront anyone. I just needed to see it with my own eyes. The receptionist was kind. You just missed her, she said. Well, not just. It's been about a month now. I nodded. Did she say why she left? She hesitated. Not really. But there were rumors. Something about a conflict with a client. And, well, she seemed distracted for a while. I thanked her and left. Something clicked on the drive home. A client. I pulled up our shared calendar on my phone. She'd once shown me how she logged big deadlines, when she was still proud of what she did. There it was. A client meeting marked 3 months ago. A lunch that ran 5 hours. The name? G. Lawrence. I knew that name. It was the name on the mail slot for Unit 7B. He wasn't just the other man. He was one of her clients. That's when the phone rang. Unknown number again. I let it go to voicemail. Something in me already knew. When I listened to the message later, I recognized the voice. I know who you are, he said. I know what she told you. But before you burn everything down, just know, she told me she was divorced. Said you left her. I didn't know until last week. I told her it was over. I'm sorry. No name. Just that. I sat there, holding the phone, and something inside me finally cracked. Not out of rage. Not even heartbreak. But from the realization that there was no clean villain here. No neat explanation. Just a web of lies so tangled, I didn't know where hers ended and mine began. Because I had lied too. I lied every time I ignored the red flags. Every time I let the silence between us stretch for days. Every time I convinced myself that love was something you could keep alive just by staying. The truth? I had been disappearing, too. Not into another life, but into denial. Into comfort. Into the version of us I wanted to believe still existed. She didn't come back. Not for her things. Not for me. 2 weeks later, I boxed up what was left and dropped it off at Jenna's with a note. Tell her I'm not angry. Just done. The divorce wasn't messy. We barely spoke. I signed what I had to. She asked for little, almost like she was ashamed to ask for more. Sometimes, I wonder if she really thought she could live in both worlds forever. That I'd never notice. That the truth wouldn't catch up. But the thing about lies is, they always leave residue. In the end, it wasn't the affair that broke me. It was that she could wake up next to me, sip my coffee, kiss my cheek, and still choose to lie. Now, the house is quiet again. But it's a different kind of quiet. Not haunted, just empty. And in that emptiness, I'm learning to rebuild. Not revenge. Not bitterness. Just clarity. And finally, peace.